Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. And today, we are unfortunately looking at a new EP from In Flames. Yippee. Look, let's just be honest with ourselves here, folks. Modern In Flames fucking sucks. You know it, I know it, the fans know it, everyone fucking knows it. They may have once been emerging Swedish melodic death metal titans, thanks to iconic records like the Jester Race, Horacle, and Clayman, and they may have indeed captivated more mainstream American audiences in the mid-2000s, thanks to records like Reroute to Remain and Clarity. But that aside, let's not kid ourselves here. There has been a huge decline in quality since Sounds of a Playground fading. Their sound, their songwriting, their basic presentation has gotten to be so soft, so synthetic, so formulaic, so repetitive, so fucking predictable. Their 2016 studio album Battles in particular stands out as perhaps the worst album in their entire discography. So underwhelming, so overproduced. Honestly, I don't see any sonic differences between that album and any watered down modern mainstream rock of this time. Like, I think of this album and I'm reminded of like maybe a slightly more metal Imagine Dragons. Many people saw last year's Eye the Mask as an improvement because it had metal riffs on it, and sure, if we're looking at this objectively, it probably is the better record. But honestly, saying you'd rather listen to Eye the Mask over Battles is so pointless. It's the equivalent to saying you'd rather eat shit over diarrhea. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You're still eating shit. But you know, despite all that, a little flicker of hope still ran through my body when it was announced that not only would In Flames be remastering and releasing Clayman as part of a 20th anniversary box set, but that in turn they would be re-recording a select few tracks from the original album as part of a special release now known to us as Clayman 2020. I thought to myself, finally, an opportunity for In Flames to return to their melodic death metal roots, an opportunity for them to introduce an entire generation of metalheads who probably don't know a whole lot about classic In Flames to the sound that made them as iconic as they are. I thought to myself, hopefully, Clayman 2020 will re-inject In Flames with the heart, the honesty, the authenticity, and the integrity that they lost nearly a decade ago. But it turns out that I thought wrong. Very wrong. Foolishly wrong. Hilariously wrong, in fact. It turns out that not only is In Flames dedicated to moving away from their classic sound, but at this point, they're willing to sabotage it. They're willing to actively fuck it up. Because not only is every single moment of the Clayman 2020 EP objectively worse than any single moment of the original Clayman album, but it is also quite possibly the worst thing that the band have ever produced in their over 25-year career. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the moment that you hear those guitars, those drums, and those vocals, then you, sir, or madam, or whomever, are fucking deaf. I mean it, folks. From a purely technical standpoint, this thing is an utter mess. The guitar work, once so beefy, so muscular, so thick, now feels like it's being played out of a computer. It's lost all of its edge. It's lost all of its anger. It's lost all of its metal, really. The drums, which once had such a thunderous swing and pulse to them, now feel so weak, so tepid, almost as if this is a kid just learning how to play metal drums. The cymbals are especially irritating. They are constantly ringing, constantly clashing, and the noise that permeates off of them consumes everything else. Honestly, no joking, no bullshit, no exaggeration, this has to be one of the most irritating drum sounds since Metallica's Saint Anger. And God help you if you're looking for bass, because it is absolutely buried in the utter chaos created by the drums and guitars respectively. Like seriously, the only times you'll hear bass on this record is when everything else shuts the fuck up. Like in the verses of Bullet Ride, for instance. But even then, the bass playing on this thing could easily be mistaken for someone simply tapping their hands like that. Oh my god, those lead vocals. Anders is just butchering his own material here. He sounds so strained, he sounds so tired, he sounds so out of his element. Like, seriously, did this guy have strep throat while they were recording this EP? Because he sounds like Jonathan Davis trying to sing lead vocals for some Warped Tour Hot Topic metalcore band. It's just... blah! So fucking bad. And the fact that these songs are structurally identical to the original cuts from the original Clayman record makes this all the more irritating. I mean, sure, I've been wanting In Flames to revisit their melodic death metal roots for years, but I've never asked for this specifically, explicitly, because there's just no need. That original Clayman album, it's honestly kind of timeless. That whole era of In Flames and that whole era of melodic death metal, for that matter, you know? It's aged so well. There's just no need for these kinds of updates. And even if it did, I promise you, nobody would have wanted you to bring these songs into the sappy, overproduced butt rock world that you've been living in for the last decade. God, is there anything positive I can say about this EP before I give my final score? Oh, the classical number in the beginning, Themes and Variations in D minor. It's not amazing. It's not particularly innovative. It could probably do with being trimmed by about 2 minutes, but it's nice. Starts the album off on kind of an atmospheric note. It's okay. Yeah, that's it. 1.5 out of 5. This thing fucking sucks. In the past, whenever I've criticized modern In Flames, there's always been at least one motherfucker that has said something to the effect of, well, the only reason you hate it is because you won't stop comparing it to the originals. In Flames has changed. Move on, bro. And I guess you're not objectively wrong, but my issue with In Flames has never been that they stopped playing death metal. My issue has been that they stopped playing good music. But more importantly to this album, it's impossible not to compare the two, because this literally is the classic, iconic In Flames material re-recorded for 2020. If by chance you've never heard Clayman, and for that matter, if by chance you've never heard classic pre-2003 In Flames, please do not let this be your introduction to that era, to that sound, to that album. Because there is absolutely nothing on this EP that the band does not do objectively better on that original album. End of fucking story. This is just utter shit. And honestly, this is the point where I officially jump off the In Flames train. I will never look at another new release from them again, because they just keep fucking up, and they keep getting worse in how they fuck up. In Flames are so fucking bad that they're even fucking up their good material. That's the point we're at right now, folks. Jesus. I'm starting to ramble. Let's wrap this up. 1.5 out of 5. It's fucking bad. Don't listen to it. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right there so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately, and you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.